Hey there, friends. I've been spending the last 3 minutes trying to figure out why my tripod was uneven because part of it was underneath my chair, not realizing that it was sitting on a VHS tape. So this is what kept me from not recording the. Which, by the way, if you're a horror fan, that movie rocks. It's backwards, but it rocks. George Romero did a vampire film. Who knew? Me knew. Me owns it on VHS. Anyway, not what we're here to talk about, but I just thought it was funny that I couldn't figure out what was wrong. It was like sitting on top of something. Anyway, today I'm going to be doing Trick the Fox for, I think, the first time. I've only heard one of their songs, which was Runaway, which I heard at the end of one of Ren's chapter tapes. Sorry, thinking of the chapter videos. Yes, Ren did a whole analog series, didn't you know? I'm doing, someone suggested I do 4 Elements, and then also one that's called a poem by Ren, because they're little shorties. So I'm gonna be doing 2 little shorties. And I just found out that Ren's got is dating in this video, but I don't care. Has a new song coming out next week. Of course on a day that I work, which is annoying, but so it goes. It is how it is. Alright, so we're gonna see a little baby Ren. And I'm kind of curious, it's only a minute and a half long about the 4 Elements, which in my brain, I know it's not, but I almost want it to be a There Might Be Giants, old school educational song about elements, which would be really cute. But I highly doubt it. Alright, let's go. All the music you hear was recorded in our living room using only a voice and a guitar. Just one voice, just one guitar. Probably both Ren related.
Earth grows through my feet, so I can take up this land. I walk through fields of green, dig my toes to the sand. I stand tall like a mountain, running dirt through my hand. I feel part of this earth and part of this land. Wind, I'm catching my breath and I stop and start breathe in, breathing the molecules of the oxygen. Breathe out slowly, I'm floating, I feel less weightless, I'm taking off like wind. When I'm blowing, never slowing, I'm growing, I'm going Gaia Force 9. And you better be knowing that I'll be a gentle breeze, yeah, I can be tame, or I can come with the force of a hurricane. Water, water, feel my soul flow.
Okay, this is adorable. I'm going back to the beginning. Because I was just kind of caught up in where is this going? Oh my god, is he gonna do all 4? Which I'm assuming he does fire next. He's calling the elements, basically. That's awesome. I know he's mentioned going to some hippie festivals as a youngin'. And I know that a while ago, I think on the Patreon, I think it was on Patreon, someone mentioned his sister having, saying how much they liked his sister's Instagram page. And I'm like, is this his Instagram page? So I looked it up, and I didn't follow, which was stupid of me because I should have, and I felt weird, I just found her because of her brother. But I really liked her Instagram page because she seems super new agey and was celebrating Mabon when I saw it, which is the autumn equinox. Looks so much like her brother, which is hilarious. But yeah, he's got a little, maybe not pagan in him, but I see you, little boy. I would say agnostic nowadays, but I don't know if that's gonna remain true. My faith kind of got tangled up in an individual who things went poorly recently. Not like a girlfriend, but a close friend, sister. But it all just blew up horribly a year ago. It was extremely painful. So because I have all these memories and associations with what was at the time my religion really tied up in this one person, I had trouble really just detangling it, and I kind of basically was I have to think maybe I'm done with all this. And I'm always more of a skeptic anyway, so I went kind of agnostic. But I was a practicing pagan for many, many years, and for over a decade. And this is Calling the Elements. I used to do this all the time, not through music, but was it nice through music? That's so fun. I would 1000%, if I was still practicing, especially when I used to write rituals for my friends and I to do for holidays. I was usually the one in charge of organizing that stuff. I would 1000% have made everyone do this, of everyone who's calling each element would have had to do the little verse here. It's so cute. I love it. Because yeah, that's what you do, is you're like, you kind of do a little thing for each element. You can do spirit if you want to. Obviously, people don't usually say wind, they say air. And it's usually done, I think, in a different, I guess it sort of depends. I think you could probably do it in any order you want. There's like some like, it depends on what kind of pagan you're. I don't want to speak for everybody. Some follow really strict, like, you have to do everything this way, that's all, which is totally fine. I am not a proponent of that kind of paganism. I'm a proponent of like Costco paganism. You just like grab whatever feels right and just roll with it. So I would always do air, fire, water, earth, but that's okay. Or I guess air, wind, water, earth in this case. But yeah, I would call it, like, I went through this year for fun where I would like, I read in a book that you should try calling or like setting up sacred space in different ways. And so for like a year, every single time it was like a full moon or a holiday or like whenever I just decided to do one, I would do it in a different way, just to kind of, and some of them were like really serious and some of them were like super goofy, like having like a Disney film represent each element and silly shit like that. But I would 1000% have made like every single one of my friends memorize their little part, and it would have been really, really cute. Oh, I love it. It makes me happy. Okay, sorry.
Earth grow roots through my feet, so I can take up this land. I walk through fields of green, dig.
I like this part, unlike with wind or water, we've shown this already, is he's like moving the whole time. He's kind of like going through all the trees and talking about roots, which is like grounding and stuff. I'm fully reading this paganism because I can, because it's so, I love it. Dressing in Styles from Teen Wolf's sweatshirt. Look at that little face. Look at that little baby. Alright.
So I can take up this land. I walk through fields of green, dig my toes to the sand. I stand tall like a mountain, running dirt through my hand. I feel part of this earth and part of this land. Wind, I'm catching my breath and I stop and start breathing, reading the molecules of the oxygen. Breathe out slowly, I'm
the kind of shifting thing with the wind. I know he also mentions like something about a hurricane, which I think is very funny, because when you're like calling or when you're imagining each element, you kind of, I would always choose it in different ways depending on like what I was doing or how my mood was, and the whole thing of just like, either fire was like a little candle in my head or it was like a giant bonfire depending on how I was feeling. Same with like water, would sometimes be like a little stream around me, or it would be like a giant freaking cyclone. So that's really fun. Also repping the Adidas even back then.
and I stop and start breathing, reading the molecules of the oxygen. Breathe out slowly, I'm floating, I feel less weightless, I'm taking off like wind. When I'm blowing, never slowing, I'm growing, I'm going Gaia Force 9. And you better be knowing that I'll be a gentle breeze, yeah, I can be tame, or I can come with the force of a hurricane.
Like the gasping in the background to illustrate the air and the wind.
Knowing that I'll be a gentle breeze, yeah, I can be tame, or I can come with the force of a hurricane. Water, water, fill my soul, flowing. Water, water, come and wash away my sins. Water, water, fill my soul.
In the way that it's like a lot more sort of sounds more floaty. I do hate that thing people can do where they sound like the water's dripping with their mouth. I don't know why, it just kind of freaks me out. I have no idea why it bothers me, but it does. But yeah, I like that he's like right by a little stream. Although I worry for his shoes. Tie your shoes, boy. I feel like in every video I'm like telling you to get your shit together, but tie your shoes. If one of those falls off, it's your own fault. No one's jumping in after him. You gotta go in there after there. And that water doesn't look clean. Ren. I was called Ren. I have in my private life called, like to myself, because I don't speak about Ren to anyone. I have my sister's cat's name is Penny, and sometimes I'll call her Pennifer, and I have 1000% like in my brain or out loud when Ren's like bothering me with how good he is. I'll go, Renifer, really upset. I don't know why, but I've called him that. Renifer or Renfield are my goofy nicknames for this boy.
Wash away my sins. Water, water, fill my soul. Flowing. Water, water, come and wash away my sins. Fire, fire, I'll be burning right up to the sky. Get too close and you might not survive.
That sweatshirt looks like a Mickey hand. We had for a hot minute, for those who haven't seen me before or haven't heard mentioned, I used to work at Disneyland for the last like 12 years. in the stores. And I always hated it when like suddenly we always knew when there's a big rush on something that some influencer put on Instagram. And for a long time there was a I think it was yellow. It was like a pale yellow sweatshirt would look like that with the Mickey glove, doing a little peace sign. I'm like, God, there was a huge rush on them. It was so annoying. You had to deal with people 1,000 times a day. Be like, do you have? It's like, no, I don't. Well, can you check? Girl, I just did like 1,000 times today. Now we don't got them. This is funny because this is fire was my element usually if I was participating in the calling. So imagine myself doing this as anything.
Fire, fire, I'll be burning right up to the sky. Get too close and you might not survive. And I'll be burning, burning so bright. Call me that, call me that, call me that fire. And I will burn to a crisp.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you're barefoot, as you should be. It's wrong you shouldn't be barefoot in your fire, but screw it. Hey, look, I've been to many, many of pagan circles. I have jumped over a few bonfires in my day. It's just part of the way it works. Certain holidays, you jump over a bonfire. Sometimes it doesn't matter. sometimes that close. I did not do that, but it is something some people do. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun to jump over bonfires. It's freaking awesome. I love this part.
I'll be burning, burning so bright.
And the way that it like his cadence sounds kind of goes like up and down a little bit, like a little flame.
Call me that, call me that, call me that fire. And I will burn to a crisp flames. Any sucker wanna touch me, feel the pain. I won't stop, I won't ever tire. Call me that, call me that, call me that fire. Earth, wind, water, fire.
Cute. Oops, I mean that. That's adorable. I totally wish that I still ran holiday rituals for my friends, because there's no way I wouldn't force them to do that. That would be fun as hell. That would be really fun. I enjoyed that a lot. That was very cute. Yay. Okay. When I first tricked the fox, that was very cute. And now we've got Wren poem? Another little boy, another little one. Little boy means he's a little boy, but also little one is in little boys in the videos of boy. I call a lot of things boys. I don't know why. That's just how I roll. All right. So we're doing Trick the Fox, a poem by Wren, which, because he has a guitar, I'm assuming is a song by Wren, but we'll see.
I wrote a poem like last year, and I never do poems, so I'm gonna do a poem over some guitar chords.
How do you do songs? Those are poems, my dear.
The meaning of this life can change. It's just how you observe it. Like you can't stop a wave, but you can learn to surf it, so it's all down to interpretation. Remember, one man changed the laws of physics with a 3-letter equation, and so I take this principle and I apply that to life. For every moment's an opportunity dressed in a different disguise.
I love the way that he even though it's a poem and not a song, still with a little bit of guitar, and his cadence still makes it sound musical. Even without that guitar, it would still kind of have a musical sound to it. This is a very sweet poem.
Take this principle and I apply that to life. For every moment's an opportunity dressed in a different disguise. To be aware of our potential, that is to open our eyes. The only force that works against us is the ticking of time, but I accept mine. I stare death in the face, I take hold of his bony fingers, I hold death and embrace. For to accept death is to be free from fear, and we can fill the gap with love and time just seems to disappear. For what is the use working a 9-to-5 job, trying to build some sort of status for ourselves before our time is up, if when we get there we feel the same as we did from the start? Material wealth will never quench a thirsty heart. We spend so much time searching for the meaning of our existence that sometimes we forget to just exist through sheer persistence. Buddhist monks will spend years in deep meditation, and saints will contemplate God and all of his creations. Scientists will try to summarise with an equation. Consumerists will try to buy the ticket to salvation. Well, this is my theory. This is my school of thought. The meaning of life is much easier than once thought. You want to know what it is? Yeah? Well, my theory is the meaning of life, it is to simply live. And if I am wrong, then Lord please forgive, but it seems so simple, it's obvious, it makes me want to shout out that the meaning of life is this second, this moment, right here, right now.
That was very cute. I liked that quite a bit. Here's the thing, is I don't know when that was filmed when it comes to his health journey. I know that like he got really sick, or he was really sick while with Trick the Fox. I don't know if he was sick at the beginning of Trick the Fox. I don't know like where this was. The whole talk about staring death in the face, and I don't know if that was maybe him not yet aware of how real that would be later on. So it's kind of interesting to see potentially before some of that stuff hit really bad, kind of where he was at mentally. That was very like, here's the thing. I've seen some people, whether it's from, you know, the small handful of reaction videos I've watched or whatever, and I get the meaning behind this. I'll say things like, you know, what he went through was awful, but, you know, all that made him who he is today, or all that made him the great artist he is today, or maybe we wouldn't have the music that he makes today if it weren't for that. And I don't blame those people. I understand it, because I understand that people, when faced with something so terrible, even if it's not happening to you, if it's happening to someone else, and seemingly just so unfair and random, humans need to, or oftentimes want to seek some kind of greater meaning in that. Like, this is awful, but this had to happen so this could happen. You know, before I moved, recently I moved to the Pacific Northwest. Before I did that, the like year or so before that was really terrible for me. And like, my mom will say things like, well, it had to be that bad so that you could make the choice to move, which you wouldn't have done because you would have been scared to leave. Sure, totally. I get why there's a reason, and I get the reasoning. People need that. Because the idea of just terrible things happening, of Ren just getting sick because of some tick bite and all this thing, and people ignoring all this stuff, is awful. And so we need to find something greater than that. But listening to that poem, it's a slightly more naive version, I guess, because he is so young, of his principles, but they're all still there. They're all, it's the, you know, the staring death in the face, the desire to find connections and put love in the world, and the hatred of greed, and the desire to, you know, kind of come together as a community. All those things are still there, the things that we champion him for having value in now. Would they be the same without the sickness? Who knows? I personally don't care, but I do feel like it's worth bringing up that, like, what he went through didn't make him who he is. It tested who he was and made those feelings, because he was strong enough to push through, and because he was strong enough to survive those things while holding on to who he is, while not becoming bitter and angry, as I'm sure I probably would have. It just solidified who he was. It didn't make him who he is. It solidified who he is. And so I don't know. I just feel like that's worth pointing out. Again, I don't blame those people who were like, oh, this had to happen so that he could, like, you know, so his music could get better or whatever. It's just like, I think the music would have been great regardless. I think that, you know, would he have made some obviously, like, you know, Sick Boy wouldn't have happened, but like, it would have just been different great music. It just would have been different. That's it. It wouldn't have been less than. So I don't know. Yeah. Those are my feelings. Sorry for the little random speech at the end here, but I just feel like, I think kind of sometimes, like I said, I understand, but it rubs me the wrong way a little bit, of like, tragedy doesn't make you who you are. Tragedy helps to highlight who you are in the face of something terrible. It might change your view of things. It might test you, but it theoretically shouldn't define you as a person. Although obviously it will color the world around you to a degree, depending on what it is. I don't know. There you go. That's just how I feel. It's my little rant about Dear Ren. And that is all for me for today. That was fun. Just two little babies, two little guys. Yeah. And I will be doing Ren's new song this week, though it'll be a little bit later than I wanted to. I wanted to be like, yeah, I'm ready immediately. But it won't be because I don't get home till like 3 o'clock that day. So, or 4 o'clock that day. Oh well, work getting in the way of my shit again. So there you go, guys. Later days. Bye.